How will the Surface Duo and the Surface Duo 2 form in 2024 against modern flagship phones such as the Z Fold 5? We're going to look at that closely today. So let's just start off looking at the thickness of the phone. As you can see here, they both have bumpers on. The Z Fold, I only have it on one side because that's the adhesive side and I didn't want to take it off. But still, the Surface Duo is so much thinner when you look at it. Look at the hinge size. You can see how much thinner it is than the Z Fold or really any other foldable phone on the market. The Surface Duo even beats the new OnePlus Open thinness. Check out the specs here. Now, just holding the two different phones, for me, I can just feel the ease of holding this thing because it's not bulky when it's closed. The elegance of it, it just looks really slick for a smartphone. Two different styles, two different looks. Now let's get the easiest thing out of the way as far as comparisons go. You can see the Surface Duo has no outer camera, whereas the Z Fold 5 has its three main cameras on the outside as well as one on the inside and another one here. Matter of fact, it has 5 cameras, where on the Surface Duo you have one camera on the inside and that's it. You can see that the flash is right there alongside of the camera. With this camera, you just don't take very good photos. So if you're buying a smartphone for photo taking, this is not the one. Now they do make the Surface Duo 2, which does have the same set of 3 cameras like you find on the Z Fold. However, they did not put the top quality. And as a matter of fact, they didn't even put the top quality in the Z Fold 4. So the Surface Duo 2 does have the 3 set of cameras on the back of it, similar to that of the Z Fold 5. So you can take better pictures with the Surface Duo 2. So with that aside, let's see how the Surface Duo stacks up to the modern day smartphone. So let's begin with the startup test. Everybody wants to see how fast these phones start up. So we'll go ahead and start them both up at the same time and see what happens. Now, start up the phone. How often do you do that? Once a day at the most, if that. And I would venture to say most of us don't shut our phones off every night. So this actually, in my book, doesn't really give you the full story on performance. Now, as you see here, the Z Fold 5 started up a lot faster. Not a big deal, like I said, especially when you don't turn it off and on that much. All right, let's go ahead and get these booted up. You know, every time you log into a smartphone for the first time, you got to enter in your code. So I'll do that on these. All right, now we got both phones booted up and on. All right, let's begin our testing. Let's just start off by opening the Photos app. We'll open up Google Photos on both of them. Let's see how they both respond. Now, as we just saw there, they both started off almost simultaneously. You can probably even argue that the Surface Duo jumped into it just a little bit faster. Now, looking at the comparison of both of them sitting on the landscape, they're pretty much similar. Of course, you do have the bar down the middle on the Surface Duo. Now, on something like this, it doesn't make that big of a difference when you're surfing and browsing. Now, just at a glance, you can see you get a lot more on the Surface Duo simply because it is a wider screen. And we'll just set that up there again so you can see right there, it's much wider. So you get a little more. So in that area, the Surface Duo really wins, gives you a much more to view. And when you browse through, it's all pretty much the same here when browsing. But again, you see here my family, you get 3 images here versus just 2 on the Z Fold 5. Then of course, on both of them, if you want to see more, you can just scroll over as such. Now let's go ahead and move on to another app. What does YouTube do? Let's check out YouTube. Let's open up YouTube on both devices. When you click on it and open it up, there you go. Again, almost simultaneously. This is a 5-year-old chip in the Surface Duo versus the new 8th generation chip in the Z Fold 5. Not bad in performance. So are you going to lose 80 in performance between the two? Not a whole lot. What's a few seconds? Let's check out a video. How's video viewing on this? Well, first I want to do is just go to my channel here and we'll just check out the same video here. Open it up and you can see it playing. Automatically you get the same screen, an overview. You got your video playing and then you have these on the side for what you might want to go next. You can scroll those just the same as the video plays. You get a little bit larger video here on the Surface Duo, but you can see it's got that split screen, kind of could be annoying if that's the way you watch your videos. If you're like me, I might start a video here just to get an idea whether I like it. And then of course, then I'll expand it to a full screen, such as this. Now, when you expand to the full screen, of course, you've got that split down the middle. And who likes a split down the middle? Nobody really. So how do you fix that? Well, on the Surface Duo, for example, you go ahead and keep it in the smaller format and just turn it like so. So on the Surface Duo, the best way to watch it is actually just put it on one screen. And there you go, there you have it. And I actually like to expand them out. You can do that on both of them. You still get a bigger experience on the Z Fold 5 versus the Surface Duo. Now, when you go to a full screen view on watching a video and you use a single screen on the Surface Duo, you add a secondary screen to do other things. Browse the web, for example. Do whatever you want. On the Galaxy Z Fold, of course, you're down to the one screen, but you can do the split screening as well. So let's go ahead and turn this and let's change it back to a single screen, and let's go ahead and bring up a browser. Bring up the browser. There. Now you can browse. Now you look at the two of them. Pretty similar, but now you've got the larger screen on the Surface Duo. And even you get a little bit larger browsing screen. Not a whole lot of difference, but you can see you have a little more to work with on the Surface Duo in this format. Is either one better than the other in this? I don't think so. So what story does that tell me? Surface Duo is still up to par in 2024. And then there's always the viewing mode where you can set up the two devices like this and watch a video. And again, when you do that, you get a whole lot more on the Surface Duo. But you can browse, and then of course your browsing experience is going to be a much better on the Surface Duo because you have a much bigger screen to browse the web with. Now, we did cover multitasking briefly on that last segment, but when you look at the two phones and you want to do multitasking, what's great about both of these, and you don't find in something like the Pixel Fold, I'm not sure about the OnePlus Open, but on these two phones you can actually pair apps together and open two apps at the same time. So here's an example. I'm going to open up two browsers at the same time, side by side. On the Z Fold 5, I keep my paired apps on the edge bar, right here on the home screen on the Surface Duo. Let's go ahead and start them both up at the same time. There's a little delay there in the Z Fold 5, but it did win on opening them both up. Was there a big difference? 40-year-old processor, up to date. Now, when you got them and you want to use them both this way, I think it's clear and obvious that you have a much better view on the Surface Duo. You got much larger screens, much easier to work with the different apps. Whereas on the Z Fold, they're thin. Now let's go ahead and turn it around to the side. Then we can compare them a little bit better. This would be a better way to work with it. But again, it's still a smaller format as compared to the Surface Duo. So let's say you browse on the web and you decide, hey, I'm going to look at cameras. So let's check this out. Let's open up cameras on sale. So I'm going to do this on both. Cameras on sale, DSLR. And now they're both going to look. There we got DSLR cameras on sale on both of them. So let's go ahead and look at a similar camera. These images look the same. They come from two different places though. Well, let's go ahead and click on them. How does it respond? It opens up right in place because you have another app open on the other side. Same here. Opens up right in place. Now, I don't know if it was because of the app side itself opening up faster, but as you saw, the Surface 2 opened it up faster. Is browsing any different? No. The browsing is about the same whether you have the Surface Duo or the new top-of-the-line foldable. So I would say the performance, there's not a whole lot of difference there. Now, of course, if you did video editing or something that takes a lot of processing, yes, the Surface Duo will lag behind. But if you want an everyday working phone that has apps and can turn into a tablet, there's nothing wrong with the Surface Duo. It still performs. Of course, the Surface Duo, using it as a phone, you have to go into phone mode. It's just by flipping it over and you can use it as a phone. And it is a big chunky phone. I myself, I use Bluetooth earpieces. So that's never been an issue with me. Now, of course, on the Z Fold 5, it looks like a smaller bar phone. So there's nothing strange about doing it with the Z Fold 5. But on the topic of cellular, the Surface Duo is only LTE. It does not have 5G, whereas the newer smartphones do have 5G. Now, of course, you could get the Surface Duo 2, and it does have 5G, so you're not lacking if you have the Surface Duo 2. Now, when you're talking about phone quality, I don't notice a whole lot of difference whatsoever, especially since I'm using the earpieces. Things may be different with you depending on how you use your phone in a phone call. Now, as far as upgrading the device, the Surface Duo will be forever stuck in Android 12. Now, I say that hesitantly because there are some people out there, some developers that are developing Android 13 or even 14 to work with the Surface Duo. So if you stay in touch with that, and if you are really kind of on the edge of tech and like to mess around with devices, you could possibly upgrade it to newer software. However, I'd be hesitant to do that, especially when Android 12 works so well and it's pretty current. The only time it's going to start affecting you is when apps come out that require the more current Android. But in my view, I think you have at least 2, maybe even 3 more years before you even have to worry about that, because most apps are backwards compatible. So if you have the Surface Duo 2, it's going to go on for another year with updates. Whether they're going to update the OS, we don't know. It should have had 14 by now, and it doesn't, because Microsoft, as we know, has gone silent. So you may or may not get more updates with the Surface Duo 2, but you will get security patches. But regardless whether you get the updates or not, as I've shown, you still get great performance out of the Surface Duo. So to circle back on that question, will the Surface Duo perform well in 2024? Can it keep up with the modern day marvels in the fold industry? I say yes as far as performance and your everyday use. So if you have a Surface Duo or a Surface Duo 2 and you're afraid of getting behind the 8 ball, that's not going to happen yet, especially if you use it as a consumption device and a phone. Now, as tech reviewers, we're going to always continue to move on because that is what we do. But as far as a unique and enjoyable experience, the Surface Duo still presents that, and in my opinion, still has the clearest screen. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you got something out of it. If you did, please leave a comment down below and let me know. And while you're down there, subscribe to the channel for more content. If there's any questions you have about the Surface Duo and there's something you want to learn that I can teach you, please also let me know down in the comments below. So if you haven't tried unique technology, you've got to try it. Stay tuned for more on GOT. Have a wonderful day and God bless. To learn more about the Surface Duo or unlock its potential, check out these videos here.